Ladies and gentlemen, if you thought last night was monumental, if you thought this past week was monumental on Sportswire Radio, wait till you tune in tonight here because our guest, no stranger to us here on Sportswire Radio, he's carrying not one, not two championships. And frankly, we should have listened to him for all these months, all these years on Sportswire Radio. We should have listened to him because he proved us all wrong and some. He's going to talk about that, plus what he's up to and some in between. You're not going to want to miss this one. He needs no further introduction. So let's wait for it. Further ado here on the Sports Report. Number one, Global Sports Show, the Paramount Pro Wrestling Prestige Champion, and one half of the KOW Tag Team Champions, the unforgettable Andre Dekker. Mr. Dekker, congratulations.
Yeah, it's been a minute, old mutton chops, and I've been busy. Clearly, I thought you'd maybe have had a shower and a shave between times, but I suppose not. So, you've got your questions. Ask away, my friend.
Oh, I'm certainly honored that you would have even thought about me shaving. But hey, it's not about me. It's about you, Mr. Andre Dekker, because certainly you have been winning maybe more than anybody right now in professional wrestling, and especially this past weekend over at Paramount Pro Wrestling. And you talked about it a little bit with us here the last time you were on, but you certainly pulled off one here for the ages. You are now the Prestige Champion. You defeated Buster Ellis, a name you've mentioned here in the past on Sportswire Radio. So for those that are listening and watching here on this, I mean, talk about it and what it means to you now to be the Paramount Pro Wrestling Prestige Champion.
So, look, vindication. That's what this is. This is vindication of hard work, vindication of being underappreciated, and frankly, completely underrated and written off. I was in Liverpool at Paramount. It's been a crazy journey. I started there and at a losing streak, and I can admit it was a losing streak, but a person and an athlete and a wrestler and a star of my caliber, to be honest, it wasn't right, and I needed to change that, and I did. And I took my destiny into my own hands. I won the King of the Paramount briefcase. I cashed that in at the right opportune time. And look at me now. Look at me now. Look at me now. Definitely more silverware than Liverpool are going to get this season. So I hate to say I told... Actually, I don't hate to say I told you so. I told you so, Paramount Pro Wrestling. I told you so, Liverpool. I told you so, Buster Ellis. And you know what? Mickey Barnes, the bad lad... No hard feelings, but you had him beat. I had to take the opportunity. There we go.
Oh, you know what?
Good.
It looks. I tell you what. Listen, Mr. Dekker, listen, hold them up for those that are listening and watching here on Sportswire Radio because you deserve it, my friend. You definitely listen. You proved us all wrong and some. I mean, listen, you proved that
every single one of you is wrong. I heard everyone saying about how, oh my God, he keeps going on about how he's being screwed over. Look what happens when I get fair opportunities. Look what happens when I get what I deserve. I win, I come, and I get the goods.
Listen, you are definitely delivering the goods, as Rob Halford famously sang from Judas Priest. And I have a comment. Skulls is here, so that big shout out to Skulls. But I mean, Mr. Dekker, listen. I mean, obviously, you've proved us all wrong here. We should have listened to you for all this time here on Sportswire Radio. I mean, for 2 years, you talked about you were being screwed in this company and that company, and look at you now. I mean, obviously, I mean, you're the guy. You're the ruler of Paramount Pro Wrestling. I mean, you have certainly. I mean, right now in pro wrestling, I think about it in the UK over the past couple months, you have been the most dominant star, some might even say. Some have even told me right now that you're right now on the radar in terms of what you did all across the UK, whether it's in KOW, Paramount, Odyssey. I mean, who's can stop you, really? I don't think anybody can stop you right now.
Nobody can stop me. Nobody. So, and I'm proving it every single time I go out there.
Well, let me ask you this question. I mean, should it have been easier on us, let's say a year ago, I don't know, 2 years ago even, should we have just all said on Sportswire, you know what, Andre Dekker, you were right. You should have got your shot. You were screwed. Everything that you were saying, that we should have listened to you, we should have took it all in and said, you know what, maybe we should have given you shots earlier, and you were put in these unfortunate situations clearly in retrospect. I mean, would it have been easier on all of us, and especially maybe on behalf of some of those companies, if we just listened to you?
100%. 100%. Look, you've made me go the hard way round. Every single promotion I've worked for has made me go the hard way round. I was the first winner of the Odyssey Pro Wrestling Overboard Rumble. Within a year of being at Paramount Pro Wrestling, I won my first ever singles championship. And I've reclaimed what I said was mine all along, the KOW Tag Team Championship. So where am I wrong? Whereas, you know...
No, I can't disagree with you. Listen, I'll apologize to you. Listen, Andre Dekker, I mean, I don't feel I was as bad as some of those promoters, some of those in management, but I'll apologize because you know what? You have come on. Listen, you have granted us your time over 2 years. I mean, you know, I'll give you that much. I mean, listen, you know, I'll be objective. I do want to give a comment here from another champion who's holding 2 championships. He is currently the GT Ministries World Champion and the Nonstop Action Wrestling World Class Champion. Our guest Thursday night in your chair. His name is Disciple, and he says, from one great champ to another, good evening. Hope our paths cross one day. I mean, any thoughts on Disciple or what he's done? Would you want to cross paths to him? Listen, I think if you two did cross paths in a ring somewhere, I think the ring wouldn't stand it. I think between you and him, your size, your strength, everything you guys do in the ring, I mean, they might need like a 28-foot ring, maybe a 30-foot ring. Who knows what else? But anything you want to say to Disciple?
Yeah, champions recognize champions. And you know what? I have nothing but respect for someone like Disciple. However, if you seriously think you're in my league at my level, you've got another thing, really. You've got another thing coming. Because if we go head to head, the fans will love it and it'll be an epic battle. But there's only one winner. And that's the unforgettable Andre Dekker.
Okay, but I would say, though, his run, to be fair, has been very impressive. I mean, he disposed of Bentley, Gareth Angel for 4 months. I mean, he would give you a real run, though. I mean, he would
dominant,
give you a run.
dominant. And I'm not downplaying that, but he doesn't know the depths I'm willing to go to get the job done.
Okay, that's fair. And Skulls actually has a name for you. He's calling you 2-Belt Dekker. I mean, do you want to be referred to 2-Belt Dekker? I kind of think that might limit you.
2-Belt Dekker until I'm 3-Belt Dekker, until I'm 4-Belt Dekker, until I'm all the belts Dekker. So, call me what you want. I'm coming to take more gold and more silver.
Well, what I'd like to call you is a multi-champion, because I think that gives you the opportunities to get more championships, the opportunities in other companies here. So, I mean, listen, we'll certainly see. I'm sure I'll give Disciple's side of the coin Thursday night as he gets ready for his own match next week with Jack Johnson. So certainly I'm sure Mr. Disciple will have a lot on his plate. But, I mean, so Paramount Pro Wrestling, we win this prestige championship. We have the KO tag team titles. We'll get into that in a second. I'm going to ask you this question. I'm sure you're getting questions left and right here from interviewers from all over the place, right? But these last, let's say, 3 or 4 months here for you, the unforgettable Andre Dekker, has this been the most fruitful, rewarding run so far in your career?
I'd say that's probably fair to an extent. However, this is just the beginning. From this, I build. And it's just going to get bigger. My legacy has only just begun. The unforgettable legacy of Andre Dekker.
You know what? I'm not going to argue with that. And Skulls would like to say he's calling you Grand Slam Dekker. I mean, all right. I mean, Grand Slam. I mean, but that would mean you could still we need to win more things
The
though. So
Skulls know that Halloween's in October.
well, Skulls apparently is a soul collector. He collects souls. So I mean, I have to have him on Wednesday. So I don't know what kind of see. I don't want to get in the middle of this right now, the unforgettable Andre Decker, because I got Disciple Thursday. I got you now. I got Skulls on Wednesday. Between the size of the three of yous, if I get one of yous angry right now, for all I know, I could be in Potter's Field. I could be a ditch somewhere. I don't want to get you guys angry. I mean, so I'm just trying to walk the line here, like Johnny
No,
Cash.
I don't believe in monsters and all that nonsense.
You don't?
Anyway.
Okay.
Skulls.
Yeah.
Halloween
Skulls
is October.
But what if he was born like that though?
What, born like that?
Yeah, I mean, listen, you
All
don't
right,
know.
Look, I'm not here to play your silly games. Next question.
I'm not playing the games, but this individual has a mask on. He might have a who knows? Maybe he's got a face of a skull. But listen, let's forget about him. Let's talk about you because obviously Paramount Pro Wrestling, big win. Let's now talk about KOW here in Knockout Pro Wrestling because we'll come to March 11th in a second, but let's recap winning the tag team championship. Now, this is where Andre Dekker, you and ALP fought. I mean, for ages, even on this station, on this stream, and you proved him wrong. I mean, listen, the underclass still has gold. It's maybe a leaner, a meaner underclass. You're the guy with the championships, and talk about what happened. And obviously, you guys getting those titles back. And it looks like that's really where I think, Andre Dekker, this run started a vindication.
Yeah, literally, this is it. This is the prize. This is the one that should never have left my shoulder in the first place. I'd never got the rematch I deserved straight away. And then again, even though I was right up there, I was kicked to the bottom of the ladder and made to climb when I've already done that before. And Commissioner Sheriff Steele put roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. Even in the match I won, he tried to put a biased referee in the.
I did the War Machine, Craig Collins. Yes.
Yeah, 100%, and it didn't work out for him, did it? That's stupid.
No, I mean, yeah, clearly not. Clearly not.
So you know what? They've got no one to blame but themselves. They should have just. All they needed to do was to give us the opportunity we deserved, and they would have saved themselves so much headache. They keep on calling us out for wreaking havoc on the roster, and that's why. You know what? That's why we're not defending it at the next show, because we've put so much work into getting these back. We don't want to defend them straight away. We've already put in our hours. We've put in our work. We're going to enjoy the championships, and that's why I gave Logan some time off.
I saw that you actually. I mean, I guess he's getting holiday. I mean,
how good Logan is.
Right?
Logan has been in wrestling for less. He's been wrestling on shows for. He's got less than a year's experience, really.
Yes.
When it comes to it. And
he
is a champion already. He is leaps and bounds over most people. And you know what? He's earned some time off. So did ALP think he has? No. Does Commissioner Steele think he has? No. Do those ungrateful fans? He's from Barrow. He's a local guy and they boo him. So no. He needs to find and enjoy the fact that he's a champion. So what I'm going to do is I'm laying out an open challenge. Obviously, no championships will be on the line. But, you know, to keep me limber, keep me warm, I'm going to lay out a challenge to anybody in KOW roster. Anybody.
That's not nice of you, Mr. Dekker, to just...
100%. I'm a nice guy. And this is the narrative. People are acting like Dekker's the bad guy. No, I'm a good person. If things are fair, I'm happy. Look, I've been in a great mood today, haven't I?
Yes, you have. Yes, you have.
And you know why? It's because things have been happening my way recently because they've been happening the fair way. And fans don't understand that. They think this is about the ones they like winning. It's the ones that deserve it and put in the work that get rewarded. And finally, the world looks like it's where it needs to be.
Maybe you've been misunderstood all these years.
100% I've been misunderstood. And I've said that from day one.
I know, and you said that here with
And
us,
then
by the way.
you've been looking at me side-eyed, and then you're very nice to me. Then I hear when you talking to the likes of your Rick Marcuses and your RPDs, enjoying my misfortune with them. So, I'm saying they, I also mean you as well.
Well, I mean, I'm not there in Barrow. I'm not there in Morecambe. So that would be a little unfair to say that I've really enjoyed and at times some of your shortcomings.
I've seen your other, I've seen some of your other shows.
You have.
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
And I've seen you joining in, and
well, you are very nice to come on.
I saw you enjoyed it when Rick Marcus was talking about when he did his surprise return and got that cheap, undeserved.
But to be fair, listen, we had RPD a few days prior to that, and Rick Marcus actually said he wasn't coming. His words, I remember this very well. See, I'm gonna go back to that because I knew you were gonna go to this. I vividly remember Rick Marcus saying when we had ALP on, and I believe RPD in one of those spots, he actually said, I wish I could be there. My love to everybody in Barrow was around one of those words. So nobody knew. He himself said he wasn't going to be there at the last KOW show. And apparently he showed up.
So, yeah. And then when these things are happening, do you call out how unfair that is? No, you don't. No, you don't, because you were stuck up to your guests. Just like you're nice to me, and then I'm sure you're going to be laughing at if someone else makes a joke at my expense.
We haven't actually had anyone that laughed at your expense. Actually, I've had guests come on and defend you, to be fair. We've had guests on and say, you know what, Andre Dekker, it's been unfair what's happened to him. I mean, there have been guests we've had come on. I even had one of our listeners yesterday when I told somebody that you were coming on, said, you got to be nice to Andre Dekker. This was his word.
Yeah, that's your guest, not your. That's maybe one of your guests there. But I've heard you talking to Rick. I've heard you talking to RPD. So let's not pretend you're.
Well, listen. I'm still gonna say I know you're in a good mood. I get that, but I'm going to say
yes, I am, but you're really, really pushing.
I'm testing it. But your issues should be with ALP. I'm not the one in management.
Hey, I have my issues with ALP and with Commissioner Steele are their own. And, they're not getting off lightly either. That's why, as I said, I'm not defending the title. They want me to. I've told them no. Logan's not going to be there. So, again, they can send who they like to me. I don't care.
Well, I'm going to ask you on the challenge in a second, but I have a bunch of comments here that people would like to talk to you, and I would like to at least give them that opportunity because you are a champion and you are certainly in high demand right now. Leave aside what I said or think, anything else. Let's hear what the people have to say. Will Smiley says, get them angry, face blue smiling. Skulls says that I might end up in Death Valley, meaning me. Stop while I'm ahead. Well, you're coming on, Skulls, on Wednesday, so you can address to me on that question later on. And C2K, who's in your chair next week, of course, the legendary Puerto Rican wrestling star, says, hello, guys. So I appreciate that they have tuned in. Also, Uncle Ralph, who manages the Modern Day Mafia. You might have heard of the Modern Day Mafia. They're a part of a number of different companies. He says, good evening, gentlemen. So thank you. All right, so let's talk about this open challenge. Now, I appreciate the fact that you are at least giving us the opportunity as wrestling fans to watch you next Saturday in Barrow at KOW's next show. But I mean, do you have an inclination on who you think could potentially answer this open challenge? I mean, have you thought about this at all?
I don't know. There's a strong roster.
Very strong roster. I agree.
Most of them have beat before. Could be Lucas Neon. Beat him. Well, probably not because obviously he's the champion, but I've beaten their champion before. Now, what should that say about where I should be on the card? You never know. It could be one of the Freak Show. After wanting some revenge. Sure, come at me. Whatever. We've been there before. I beat you, and I'll do it again. Maybe it's Rick Marcus. He loves jumping in there with a wrestler who hasn't had any time to prepare for him. That's the way he goes. That's the way he does things. Or you never know. Maybe it's a returning 2-bit. You don't know. He might. I'm not sure what. I haven't spoken to him since he upped, skipped, and bailed from the underclass, and luckily leaving me to carry it on my back. So you never know. You just never know, and I'm welcoming the surprise.
Let me throw a name out there, and again, you'd probably say you're nuts to bring this up, but I mean, is there a possibility of even a Keenan to answer the Open Challenge in some form or way? I mean,
Are
I
you
know.
trying to stir the pot here?
No, I mean, I'm trying to be objective.
Is that what you're trying to do? Stir the pot?
No, sir. No, sir.
Well, then shut your mouth.
Okay,
What kind
I
of
mean,
stupid question is that?
so he would be a no then.
Look, as I said, stop trying to stir the pot. Look, the underclass are a solid unit. And I don't want to hear any talk about infighting. I don't want to hear any talk about us wrestling each other. So ask that question again. I'm turning this off. I'm getting off. Okay.
Okay, well, let me throw
Okay.
another name out. How about another
Look,
name?
I was in a good. I'm trying. I was in a good mood.
I
And
understand that, but I
slowly-
am trying to ask a question related to the Open Challenge. I figured people might want to speculate or no. How about a name you talked about that?
So I'm gonna lay out an open challenge to wipe the floor with one of my brothers. No, that's not how
Okay,
it works.
all right, but I have a name that's not a brother of yours, a name that you sort of have, I guess, a star-crossed history with, and he was that referee you referred to. I mean, the War Machine Craig Collins would be a name that maybe people would think that he would answer it because he wants to prove himself, or who knows the state of mind he's in. Is that a name you think could answer it?
I have no clue, and to be honest, the War Machine Craig Collins, I think, just saw the light and realized he didn't want to cross us. I think maybe Craig Collins is maybe exchanged some of that brawn for maybe a tiny bit of brains and just thought, you know what? I will stay out of their business. And that's what he did and allowed us to be where we needed to be and to get the prize that we deserved. So I have to say, thank you, Craig Collins, for stepping out of our way.
Okay. All right. Fair point. And obviously, Keenan and Craig Collins will also be in action regardless because we will see, I guess, a challenge match between Craig Collins and Will Carter, or the unhinged Will Carter, who's definitely always unhinged. And then we will see Keenan in action against Lucas Neon for that world championship that Lucas had won. And
why would I want to jeopardize that? If Keenan, we want the underclass are there for all the gold. The underclass,
right?
But that's what
it's an open challenge, though. It's an open challenge, though. To be fair, it is an open challenge. I mean, Craig Collins, as an example, could wrestle twice. Keenan could wrestle twice. It's not out of the ordinary.
Why would that make sense, Tom? Why would that make sense?
It's not my call.
Why would I want to fight my brother, who's also going to be bringing gold?
I understand that, but it's not my call.
You're asking stupid questions. Move on.
They're actually questions that I didn't supply these questions. It was somebody that actually gave me these questions to give to you. So I wouldn't ask you these questions. Listen, right. I know that you're an
pass the buck as you always do.
All right, so I have here a comment from somebody that says, "Are you scared to defend the tag team titles?" That's what this individual says from YouTube.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I was a tag team champion for over a year and defended it. It's just taking me such a long time to get it back. I've had to claw for a rematch, which I should have got as soon as I lost it. And now I finally got it back over a year later. Well, over 2 years later. These fans have been booing me. Management's been putting roadblock after roadblock after roadblock in my... Actually, why am I even explaining myself to you?
I don't need to know. I mean, we've had you on countless times.
You know what? Do one. I am not defending the titles at the next show. So there's nothing to do with here. It's to do with what these fans deserve, and they do not deserve to see me defend these titles this soon.
Okay, so to be fair, listen, if you don't want to defend the titles, you're not contractually obligated to defend those titles. So I'll say, yeah, you know what? If you don't have to defend them, you shouldn't have to defend them. I mean, so that's up to you. But let me ask you one question that I think you could answer though, in terms of Commissioner Sheriff Steele. Obviously, Commissioner Steele is a name you've had a very, very star-crossed history with in KOW, I think, to put it kindly. And obviously, he is going to address his future. Now, I think this is a question that I have to ask you because I do think that this pertains to everybody in KOW. And obviously, I am sure you have a thought or two on it. And I'd like to ask you, I mean, what do you think he's going to say when he addresses the crowd next week in Embarra? What's your feelings on that?
Now I know what he should say. Now, what he should say is, thank you, fans of KOW. I'm no spring chicken. I'm getting too old for this. Sayonara, goodbye. I'm riding off to the sunset. And that's it. We never see him again. And all will be better with KOW. But he's as self-centered as ALP. He's as self-centered as the Freak Show. He's as self-centered as all these fans. He's probably, I don't know what his announcement is, but it's gonna be something where he uses his power to benefit himself. I don't know. Maybe he's just gonna give himself a pay rise. I have no clue what he's gonna say. Maybe I don't know. He's gonna try and put all the championships in a match and put himself into it so he can win all. I don't know. He retired, then he got interjected himself into a match. I think he needs to go. He needs to go. I'm fed up of Sheriff Steele. His reign of terror needs to end.
Well, I mean, I guess we'll have to find out. I mean, stay tuned. And obviously, if you want to go and buy a ticket to watch Andre Dekker in action in his open challenge, plus Commissioner Steele and addressing his future in KOW, plus the main event for the World Championship that is Lucas Neon against Keenan, the former Showcase champion, also a part of the underclass. And we'll also see a challenge match, the War Machine, Craig Collins, the former KOW champion, and also against one half of the former tag team champions, the unhinged Will Carter. You can get more information on KOW on Facebook at KnockoutW, K_O_Wrestling on Instagram, Twitter, KO_Wrestling, and of course, please follow the unforgettable Andre Dekker on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. Make sure you follow him because he will come after you. He will give you a beatdown. It's Andre Dekker Wrestler on Instagram. Also, we've tagged him on Facebook and Twitter as well, so please support him. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, and we are talking with the champion here, a multi-champion. He is the Paramount Pro Wrestling Prestige Champion, and also he is the one half of the KOW Tag Team Champions. Now, I have a comment from a wrestler, or I think it might be a wrestler that you might know of. He's not in KOW, but I have to bring up this comment because he says, I want to wrestle Dekker. Now, I believe this individual might be speaking off a guest that we had on last week, who some would say is the emo luchador, and he's basically the guy that does all the death-defying stunts, and he's kind of the king of the death match, some would say, or at least I would say. And that name is Jinnah. I mean, are you familiar with this individual, and do you take his bold challenge claim here seriously? And anything you might want to add if this individual would be speaking off someone named Jinnah?
Jinnah's excellent. Jinnah, to be honest, Jinnah's someone that I would welcome to join the underclass. However, if he's challenging me and he wants some of this, I'll accept it. You know what? He's got the skill. He's got He's got a lot of balls. He doesn't care. He can take a beating. He's fast, but he's not Andre Dekker. So he doesn't have the size. He doesn't have the power that I have. But he's a great technical wrestler. He's got speed. He's high flying. He's death defying. To be honest, I don't know who wouldn't pay money to see that.
I would pay a lot of money actually to see you and him in the ring, but would it be smarter for him actually to join the underclass and join you rather than taking you on right now?
For anyone, it's smarter to be with me than against me. But some people want to be in the spotlight on their own. Some people want to stand out. Some people want to go one-on-one with me because they know that the big stage shines on me and they want some of that. That's absolutely fine. And someone like Jinnah, who deserves it, who again is brilliant, stand toe to toe to me, nose to nose, see what it feels like. I'll happily go right through you, mate. So bring it. That's all I have to say.
Okay,
I hope
certainly.
it happens down the line because fans will be buzzing to see it, and it will be a
Well,
classic. But again, and don't interrupt me, Tom Bryce. Again, there will be one winner, and that will be me.
okay, well, that could be determined, and certainly, I would certainly say that it would be a great match. What I was trying to say, what I wanted to interrupt, if a promoter didn't have the pounds, I could actually put up some of those pounds if we needed
No,
necessary
no, that
to
was your
make.
Monopoly dollar money. We don't need that.
Well, it's American money, not UK money, so that would actually mean it'd be worth more than the
Yeah, yeah.
UK
So it's
pound, right?
worth a bit less. I mean, yeah, it's worth a bit. Well, I say a lot, probably a lot closer than it is. But we'll go into that. We'll go into politics another day.
Yeah, we don't want to
But
talk politics. Nobody does.
no, no, no. We won't talk about that. But either way, yeah, if you want to put that up and pay me, and I'll
Well,
do it.
I would love to see it. So I mean, listen, if ALP doesn't want to do it, if those that might in Odyssey Pro Wrestling or elsewhere might not want to do it, I mean, I would be happy to do that. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm actually trying to help you. I'm trying to help Jenna. I'm trying to help the people because that would be a match. Actually, as a wrestling fan,
Yeah.
leave aside what you think of me, leave aside what anybody else thinks of me. I would like to see that match because I think that right now you're at the top of your game. Jenna is representing our whole country right now in the UK and coming over to my side of the woods, starting up here in a few short weeks, and he's going to be in the ring in places like Crimson Crown Wrestling and a whole bunch of other companies. So I actually would just trying to help the fans and trying to get that out there. That's the reason why I wanted to see that happen. So I mean, look, Jenna,
100%.
we know it's not going to happen anytime soon, though.
100%. Well, you never know when it's going to happen because
Okay.
he's wrestled at Paramount. I wrestled at Paramount. I debuted in the BWP Rumble in
Yes.
January. He's a mainstay there. He appeared in the Odyssey the Overboard Rumble. So our paths could cross very soon. You never know.
Now, speaking about championship gold here, real quick, and I want to get one more thought on you, kind of in a general in KOW and Paramount. Then we'll move over to Odyssey Pro Wrestling because obviously we always have to talk Odyssey with you because you're always in the thick of things here. But if I said to you right now, when Andre Dekker is a champion, nobody can stop Andre Dekker because sometimes there are wrestlers when they have that championship, it's almost, how can I say it? They go on another level. They all of a sudden not only were they tough, not only were they strong, but then when they get the gold, it's almost they become not only unforgettable like you are, but unstoppable. Do you feel like right now when you get the gold, when you had the tag titles in KOW, when you were a tag champion years back in Morecambe and the old AOW, I think it was, and then obviously now with the gold and Paramount that you have, do you feel like right now that you become on a whole nother level? Instead of becoming the unforgettable Andre Dekker, you become the unstoppable Andre Dekker?
100%. And to be honest, I've been unstoppable from day one. So maybe there is a bit of a difference, and I don't know. I'm not on the other end of my punches, but there's a reason I got here, and that's by hard work, grit, toughness, and talent. And I am at another level. I'm on another level to everybody in Paramount. I'm on another level to everybody, every tag team in KOW.
Okay. All right. You know what? Listen, nobody ever denied your talent. Your talent always spoke for itself. I don't think that anybody, even if they aren't necessarily a fan of yours, would ever deny what you do in the ring in terms of your size, your strength, your muscles, everything else here. We are on Sportswire Radio with the unforgettable Andre Dekker. He is one half of the KOW Tag Team Champions. He is part of the underclass. Andre Dekker will be in the ring next Saturday at Cloud9 in the Lounge. Of course, that is the home for KOW, and he will have an open challenge, so stay tuned for more details on who will answer that. We will probably have more coverage for that between now and next week, so stay tuned for that. He is also now the brand new Paramount Pro Wrestling Prestige Champion. So congratulations to Andre Dekker, and please continue to follow his pages. And if you like what you hear from us on Sportswire Radio, continue to give us a like and follow on Facebook at Sportswire Radio, YouTube at Sportswire Radio, and 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You can listen to all of our great content on sportnarium.com/player. We'll also be back here Wednesday with coverage with the guys from Firestar Pro Wrestling. We'll have a whole bunch of them. I'll have an announcement for that tomorrow. And then also Thursday, we'll be back with UK and US Pro Wrestling coverage because Disciple, who was here at the top of the show, will be in the house. He'll speak about his upcoming match against Jack Johnson, plus much, much more. And then we'll have Can't Stop Jamal, who is the Wrestling Warzone International Heavyweight Champion. He'll be wrestling Mike Rain for that championship, so he'll give us his story about that. That'll all start about 9 o'clock British Standard Time. Plus Skulls will be after the Firestar guys. But right now we are with the unforgettable, now unstoppable Andre Dekker. And you know, Andre Dekker, you were the 2022 Odyssey Pro Wrestling Overboard Rumble winner there. You won that Rumble. You were successful, and you were the guy there. And then this past year, I see the Rumble, and we got a chance to watch it actually on the Odyssey Pro Wrestling Instagram page at Odyssey Pro Wrestling, also OPW_UK on Twitter. Also, please follow the group on Facebook as well. And I noticed that you didn't win the Rumble this year, but I guess one half of management, half of the general manager's position, which is held by Ethan Edwards, eliminated you. And you have to talk about this. For those that didn't watch this, what happened?
What happened is ridiculous. What happened is just a fluke. What happened was lucky. Ethan Edwards. Look, Ethan Edwards somehow, some way, when they say eliminated, he pulled a rope down and I fell over the rope. And the fact that they're saying Ethan Edwards eliminated me. Ethan Edwards isn't even a wrestler. I'm at the top of my game. And then I saw the fans laughing at me. Ethan Edwards is a co-general manager. He's a matchmaker. He literally entered a Rumble to try and make sure I didn't win it for the second year in a row. Who does? Should be a professional. And he's been a thorn in my side from day one. He's had a problem from me since he wouldn't even give me a job there, even though I was a former champion in Morecambe before Odyssey even started. Ever since day one, he's been trying to make sure I don't get a fair shake. He's involved himself in any match, whether it's changing the stipulation, giving me opponents that I shouldn't be wrestling, giving me surprise opponents like Rick Marcus, who was retired, luring him out of retirement when he wasn't, just to surprise me and just to get a cheap victory. And then look, where's he gone? He's had to go away because he wasn't ready. He doesn't care about the help of wrestlers. He doesn't care about the fans. He cares about himself. And I'm fed up of him just putting himself in. You know what, Tom? I've been thinking about this and I didn't really know whether I was going to even talk about this because it's not even, and I know I've not even cleared this with Chris Brooker or the rest of the spotlight. But what I'm going to do today, I'm going to issue a challenge to Ethan Edwards, 1-on-1 at War in the Shore. And I don't want it to be a match because it's not a we're past wrestling, we're past competition. He's first of all, he's not a wrestler anyway. You know, I know he's gone down south and done a bit of training and he's got himself some green gear and, you know, likes to play the part. But Ethan, you're not a wrestler. So we're going to have a fight. One man against another man. I want this to be a street fight. I don't want any rules. I don't want any stipulations. I literally want a ref there to count the pin or to render you incapacitated after I've beat you senseless. And you know what? I want, again, Tom, stop interrupting me. Again, what I want, Ethan, is you gone for good.
So the last part, you want him gone for good. Is that correct?
I want him gone. I want him gone. He's a thorn in my side, and it's ridiculous. It's like if you ever work somewhere where a boss just wants you fired and you've done nothing to deserve it. I've done nothing but be a good, talented member of that roster. I've been nothing but someone who should have been a champion by now. I've competed with the best and beat the best. And he has been trying to sabotage my career for too long. He has to go. And you know what? I don't care. Someone will say I'm calling out a non-wrestler, but he started this. He started this. Each and every show, he gets in his car in Plymouth, drives 6 hours to the other end of the country, leaving his missus to look after the kids, missing out moments that he should be there for, to play wrestler and to play boss and to book his friends and to try and get them to become champions. And it's ridiculous, and I'm fed up of it. Ethan, your fun, your little playtime with your friends is over. The spotlight have had enough of it. I have had enough of it. So I want me and you one-on-one, take the challenge, fight me.
Now, before I ask a few questions on this, Skulls actually says he feels you've been screwed in Odyssey Pro Wrestling. So apparently he's watched what's going on here, and he says that you've been screwed. So it looks like from one wrestler to another, he seems to agree with you. Now, there could be a point to this here, and certainly Ethan Edwards has used his power, some would say, to abuse things. But I mean, do you think he will accept the challenge? I mean, because wouldn't it be in Ethan Edwards' best interest not to accept this challenge? Or, I mean, should he just...
100%. It'll be Ethan Edwards' best interest just to be an actual general manager, to do his job, to be on the sidelines, maybe to, think of the show, think of the fans, think of the wrestlers. That's his job. That's why he was hired. However, Ethan Edwards is an egotistical maniac. Ethan Edwards wants the show to be about him. Ethan Edwards is a man who never could on his own. I'm sure Ethan Edwards has dreamt to be a wrestler, but he's a bit short. He's a bit pudgy. He's a bit unathletic. He's a bit uncoordinated, and he could never do it. So what he's done is he's gotten a position of power, and he's living his little dream. Just like in, you did you play sports as a kid?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. So there's always that coach who picks their son as it happened in football. Like they'd always pick their son up front with the number 9 shirt on, and regardless of how they played, they never lost their spot. Ethan is doing that, but with himself. He's put himself in a position of power so he can put himself in rumbles. He can make sure the show opens with his entrance music, and he comes out at the start of every show to welcome the fans, whether he has anything to do or not. He's someone who, has put himself on commentary when we have a commentary team. He's someone who is literally just an egotistical maniac. He needs gone, and the fans like him. He's a local Morecambe boy who abandoned Morecambe. He left. Like anyone else that Morecambe loves, they leave. He did the same thing. He just comes back to get his kicks because the fans love him. He wants to get cheered because maybe, I don't know, he gets loved by the fans because no one else at home where he lives loves him. I have no clue what he's getting out of this. But you know what? You can have your little therapy sessions somewhere else. You don't need this. This is wrestling. This is the wrestling business. I'm a competitor, and I want to compete. I don't want to be dealing with management crap.
Now, you make some valid points, no question about it, but I'm going to take a slightly different route because Chris Brooker has half of the control in Odyssey Pro Wrestling. Would it be easier, let's say hypothetically, just to go and say, you know what, let's petition to have Chris Brooker to be in full control and basically say Ethan Edwards has abused his authority in the way that...
The very moment he put his hands on me, he overstepped that boundary from management to talent. He went and put his little gear on and got his little music and his little knee pads and his little boots and strolled to the ring. That we're past dealing like a business. It's time for us to get in there and fight.
Well, I mean, if I were Ethan Edwards, this will be my honest advice. If I were Ethan Edwards, maybe I wouldn't bother showing up in April. Maybe I would just bother finding something else to do because I really think, Ethan Edwards, for your sake, if you're going to be in a match or a street fight with the unforgettable Andre Dekker, I mean, you might have last rights. I mean, I would say last rights. And Skulls actually basically says that. He says that basically Dekker doesn't give hugs, he doesn't hug it out. So, I mean, should Ethan Edwards now, would you say to him, maybe just never show up in Odyssey again? Would that be acceptable? Because I think that
I
would be
won't.
my advice to him. My
That
advice to him
the
would be,
only the only the only compromise here is he. I'm gonna go out to the ring regardless. I'm gonna go out to the ring. I'm gonna stay there until he comes out. And then if he doesn't come out, I'm gonna go to the back and I'm gonna find him. I'm gonna drag him out. And I don't care who's there. I know he has friends and family there. I'll beat him senseless in front of all of them. I'll beat him in the ring. I'll beat him around the backstage. I'll beat him in front of the audience. I'll beat him on the merch table. I'll throw him over the bar. I'll smash glasses over his head. I don't care. He's done. So
you know,
the only compromise I will have is if he gets in his car, leaves, never comes back, stays down south where he belongs with his missus and his kids, and actually does his job as a man. Then, then maybe I'll let this slide, and we can let bygones be bygones, and you can stay away from me, stay away from my career, and let the spotlight run Morecambe Wrestling as we should be doing.
now I'm going to ask you a question on the spotlight in a second, but I will say this. April the 22nd is not that far away. And I would say the advice I could give to Ethan Edwards is don't show up any further to Odyssey Pro Wrestling. Don't come out to War on the Shore. Just say, you know what? I'm going to announce my retirement because Andre Dekker is absolutely 100% right on this one. You have to give him credit here because look at the size of this man. Look at the state he's in. He's not unforgettable. He's unstoppable. He's got 2 championships. He's got the world in the palm of his hands right now. And look at Ethan Edwards. Look at the size of him. Look at kind of his lack of athletic ability. And look at Andre Dekker and his athletic abilities. So if I were a betting man, and if I were most importantly Ethan Edwards, I just would say, you know what? I'm going to find something else to do. Maybe get out of the wrestling business altogether. Because if you actually accept this, you accept this challenge, your days are numbered. We will be basically planning the last, I don't know, 60 days or so, whatever it is when it comes up to in terms of Ethan Edwards and his livelihood. And Skulls also agrees. He says, Ethan, just run if you value your soul. Yeah, I would just say, just don't show up and just give Andre Dekker what he wants. But speaking of the spotlight, I do have to ask you, I mean, Ryan Hunter and RPD, I mean, you guys put a number on RPD at the beginning of the show, but at the end of the show, RPD eliminates the Playboy Prince Lance Rivera. He wins the Rumble. He gets his shot. And after what he said after the match, after winning the Rumble, I mean, he's got his sets on eliminating you guys. I mean, are you confident Ryan Hunter's abilities here and keeping that championship in the Spotlight's hands?
Now, other than me, no one is as dominant as Ryan Hunter in Morecambe. He's been a champion from a young age. He was a champion in Alpha Omega. He's stepped up and has been the only Odyssey champion. And to be honest, I can see until it's time for me and him to go one-on-one, I can't see that changing. Once we are in control of everything, the match of the ages will be eventually the two brothers who started together, me versus Ryan Hunter. And RPD is not going to ruin that. And this fairy tale story of, and I've said it before, the boxer turned wrestler turned champion. Everyone keeps talking about it. And he comes in and says, I fight for you. Every single show to these people. And it's ridiculous. This isn't reality. It's just not reality. We do not live in a fairy tale. The good guy doesn't always win. The best wins, and the best is Ryan Hunter.
Okay, I mean, listen, you know what? Certainly Ryan Hunter, some have said he was the John Cena of Morecambe. Obviously, things have changed a little bit over the past several months, but the fact does stand that there has been nobody that has known winning championships more than Ryan Hunter. I would say he arguably is one of the greatest wrestlers ever to come out of Morecambe. So certainly right now, I know RPD has had a lot of success. He's the TNT Ignition World Champion, and we see him obviously in a number of places, but Ryan Hunter, I mean, nobody has been able in Morecambe to do really anything to Ryan Hunter. So I will give you that, especially what you guys did to RPD at the beginning of the show. You certainly may have a point. And before I get to a few other things, because I know you're a busy man, Skull says, Ethan, if it's your funeral, you show up to face Dekker. So, Ethan, if you
It is his funeral. But you know what? This is the thing with Ethan. As much of it, he is a coward. He also has such a big ego, and he knows one-on-one with me is going to be a marquee match, and he wants to be on the marquee. I think that was his dream, and although he's never earned it and never deserves it and has never been good enough, he will. There's a little part of me that thinks he might do it. He might delude himself on thinking, you know what, I might be okay. But you know what? Not only are you going to lose, you're putting your life on the line getting in there with me. I want you to be there, but I'm still going to be honest with you and tell you that. You're putting your life on the line getting in there with me.
You know what? I wouldn't even be that dumb. So listen, Ethan Edwards, you clearly have a death wish. But if you do want a chance and you do accept, you can also go and buy a ticket still for Odyssey Pro Wrestling. And if you'd like to buy a ticket, you can do so in a couple of different places to find out more information on War on the Shore coming up April the 22nd, of course, and at the Alhambra Place. And that'll be at OPW_UK on Twitter, Odyssey Pro Wrestling on Instagram, Facebook as well. Please join the Odyssey Pro Wrestling fan group as well on Facebook. And also, if you want to buy a ticket, you can go to odysseyprowrestling.co.uk/shop. That is odysseyprowrestling.co.uk/shop. And also, the front row for the VIP we know is already sold out. We know that general admission still a few tickets available, but if you continue to wait, you dilly-dally, if you're nearby in Morecambe, those are going to be gone as well. It's going to be a full sellout. We know there's a few tickets left, I think, for the second row in the VIP section. You're going to definitely want to see that for sure. It's a great card. We're going to see a lot of great matches. We have Rob Drake and Sam Bailey already announced. We've got Nightmare and Will Carter announced, and a lot of stuff that's going to go on here, plus much, much more. And Andre Dekker and Ethan Edwards. Like I said, if you're Ethan Edwards right now, you're watching, listening to this, my advice for you would be not to show up. Just don't bother. Find something else to do. Announce your retirement from wrestling. Announce your retirement from Odyssey Pro Wrestling. Don't get this man any further upset because he's in a foul mood. And when he's in a foul mood, that's why they call him the unstoppable Andre Dekker. But, Mr. Dekker, I know you're a busy man. You've got a lot on your plate. So first thing I want to ask you is there anything else you want to say to anybody that might be considering entering this open challenge on March the 11th, or anybody else in KOW between now and next week that you want to get off your chest?
I would say anyone who wants to answer the challenge, hey, maybe it's a big opportunity for you. You're going to lose, but you're going to be one-on-one with the unforgettable one. And maybe you put a good account across of yourselves. Maybe you get yourself a chance on the full-time roster. Who knows? Or maybe it's an established star who has been wronged by me. Come take your best shot. I'm ready.
Okay. Certainly, Pat Benatar used to famously sing, "Hit me with your best shot." And Andre Dekker is saying to anybody out there, whether it's in the academy, obviously we have some up-and-coming academy stars, also anybody else on the roster. Certainly stay tuned for that. And Skulls wants to say, Ethan, you've been warned. Yeah, I agree with you on that one, Skulls. I definitely agree with you, and certainly we'll get your side of the story Saturday. And anything else you want to say to anybody in Paramount Pro Wrestling, and now that you're the Prestige champion there, before we move on to closing?
Let me pull my championship back up. For everyone who has, and the people of Liverpool, who have been laughing and mocking when I had my supposed losing streak, Just take a good picture of this and know that this is what greatness does. It overcomes adversity. And I heard every single one of your criticisms, and I turned it into a positive towards me. And you know what? Me and Buster Ellis have went one-on-one numerous times, and I'd come up short. But when it counted, I got the win. 1, 2, 3 in the middle of that ring. Granted, people will say it was in the middle of a brutal strap match between him and the bad lad, Mickey Barnes. But I earned my opportunity to do so. I earned the chance to do that, and I cashed it in exactly the way I saw fit. Because champions don't mess around. Champions take their chances, and that's what I did. So I'm not sure what's in store for me at the next Paramount show, whether it's going to be a rematch with Buster Ellis, whether I'm going to be wrestling the bad lad Mickey Barnes. Either way, I'm going to beat yous. I'm going to topple both heavyweights. And I'm going to remain the Paramount Pro Wrestling Prestige Champion. I'm bringing prestige back to the Prestige Championship.
Well, I'll tell you what, you certainly look like you're well on your way to doing that, and certainly Buster Ellis and the bad lad Mickey Barnes, we've certainly covered in the past on Sportswire Radio, but right now, I don't think they hold a candle to the unforgettable Andre Dekker. That's why I'm calling him the unstoppable Andre Dekker. Listen, it doesn't matter how you got the championship. You got the championship. The record books don't say, well, it was done in tacky fashion or you cashed in. No, they don't say it that way. It does not indicate it that way. It just says, who's the current champion? And the current champion right now of Paramount Pro Wrestling is the unforgettable Andre Dekker, and also one half of the KOW Tag Team Champions, and the first ever two-time Tag Team Champion is the unforgettable Andre Dekker, although some, including Mr. Dekker himself, would have said he should have been the only Tag Team Champion in that company's history. Mr. Dekker, I know you're a busy man. You want to go party. You want to go celebrate. You want to go think about the women. You want to think about all the prestige of the championships and maybe join the rest of your brethren in the spotlight. So I want to give you the floor now. Any closing thoughts? Anything else you want to share for those that are listening and watching? And fire away, my friend.
Well, you can give them my socials. I have nothing else to say. You've had me on long enough, and to be honest, you've taken a lot of my time.
I have taken a lot of your time, and I do know that you apply to the 1 hour rule, and we're about 3 minutes or so away from that. So I'm going to plug your socials first. So everybody can follow you on Facebook at Dekker Wrestler. Also, please follow him, Andre Dekker Wrestler, on Instagram as well. Also, Twitter as well. Please follow him, Andre Dekker. Also, KO_wrestling on Twitter, K_O_wrestling on Instagram, Knockout W on Facebook. Also, Odyssey Pro Wrestling on Instagram and Facebook, OPW_UK as well on Twitter. Also, join the Odyssey Pro Wrestling group on Facebook as well. Also, on Instagram, Paramount Pro Wrest. That's Paramount Pro WREST. It's Paramount Pro WREST, where the unforgettable Andre Dekker is the prestige champion. So, Mr. Dekker, obviously, congratulations. And certainly, I know you've said your final word. So if you are on sportnarium.com/player, you'll go to your regularly scheduled programming. If you're on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, I will be back with more wrestling coverage Wednesday night starting 7 o'clock British Standard Time. We'll have the Firestar Wrestling crew. Then right afterwards, Skulls himself, who is here. So Skulls will join us. Hopefully Skulls will be in an okay mood. Then Thursday, we'll be back with a doubleheader of coverage, kicking off with Disciple. Disciple, of course, the GT Ministries World Champion, the Nonstop Action Wrestling World-Class Champion. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. Again, thank you everybody here for tuning in. Thank you to Paramount Pro Wrestling, Knockout Pro Wrestling, also Odyssey Pro Wrestling for granting us the opportunity to speak with the KOW, one half of the Tag Team Champions, and the Paramount Pro Wrestling Prestige Champion, the unforgettable Andre Dekker, who I would call the unstoppable Andre Dekker. Thank you everybody here for tuning in on the number one global radio station. I am the Reverend.